It's Greg Torres. I'm in Cincinnati. This is Buttercup Valley. This is one of my favorite forests to spend time in. And it's springtime. There's no leaves on the trees yet. And there's not very much green behind me either. But I know it's spring. I've been in the woods the last couple weeks and I've been seeing a tiny little flower called Harbinger-of-Spring, also known as Erigenia bulbosa. Erigenia bulbosa. Harbinger-of-Spring, also called salt and pepper plant. But anyway, I know that plant as the true messenger of the springtime. So as we're walking, I'll talk about it a little bit. I'm still looking for the plant, but I know where a colony is. It's quite a small plant, very small. Easy to not see if you're not paying attention to it. But this plant thrives in good forests. And I mean forests with like a tree canopy, like you can see above me. You won't find it in disturbed forests or recovering forests. This plant doesn't travel very far, so wherever it is kind of where it's gonna be. So hopefully there's some good remnant forests around still that can provide a habitat for this small, delicate plant. So here it is. This is the general habitat. You can see some great beech trees, some maples as well. Some really great trees here. But this is the habitat. You can see a good leaf litter here, right? And this is the type of soils, this forest soils with humus-rich soil. That's what these plants enjoy the most. So here it is. This tiny little plant here. And there's some other ones right here as well. This plant is called Erigenia bulbosa, Harbinger of Spring. It's called Harbinger of Spring because it's the earliest, actually the second earliest of our spring ephemeral flowers to show up after skunk cabbage. And I've made a video on skunk cabbage you could probably find. So this is the second earliest blooming spring ephemeral in our temperate forest here on the east coast of the United States. It's quite small, like I said. Very, very, very tiny flower. There's my finger in comparison to the whole plant. Erigenia bulbosa is in the Apiaceae family of plants. That's the carrots or the parsley family. There's a number of features about this plant that can indicate the carrot or parsley family. The most obvious is this white head of flowers, very small flowers, all open and blooming at the same time. If you think of Queen Anne's lace, or parsley even, you'll know that those are features that those plants have as well. Additionally, if you can see the leaf down here, it's serrated. It's not quite unfurled yet, but it's serrated, like a lot of carrot leaves. Also, and I can't quite show it here, but the leaf sheaths the stem that it's attached to. And that also is indicative of the carrot family or the parsley family of plants. Now again, Harbinger of Spring, aka Erigenia bulbosa, forms from a small bulb under the ground. The entire plant is edible, but we don't want to eat it because this plant, being one of the earliest bloomers, provides a lot of nectar for our earliest arrivals as far as insects go. So you'll find insects such as solitary bees, flower flies. I've seen some flower beetles on the flowers of this plant as well, gnats, and a number of other early awakening insects in our spring forests here use this plant. Interestingly about this plant, it only produces a type of nectar that has fructose or fructose. There's no sucrose or other sugars, so it's one type of sugar, which is kind of strange. Having a head of flowers that are small and white like this allows the plant to be pollinated by, for example, flies that might have a really small mouth part. The flowers provide a little bit of nectar at a time. And what this means is that the insect has to travel to several of the flowers to fill up its belly full of nectar. That ensures pollination, cross-pollination between one flower and another. If the insect filled its belly up off of one flower, it would have no need to visit the others and wouldn't affect pollination the way the plant needs it to. So later, this plant, once it's fertilized, it'll start to lose its flowers around like April and start to develop small, multi-sided seeds, very small seeds, that eventually will just fall to the ground via gravity. So this plant isn't dispersed through like birds or ants, really. It really just kind of spills out its seeds locally, hoping to have them germinate nearby. Another interesting aspect of this plant that I've learned through researching it was that, unlike a lot of plants, Erigenia bulbosa doesn't seem to form a fungal relationship with fungus in the soil, a mycorrhizal fungal relationship. It seems that it just kind of does its work on its own, it doesn't need a partner. There's been some theories around this, but some think that because it emerges so early in the spring, when it's quite cold, that some of the mycorrhizal fungi aren't adapted to functioning at that time of the year yet. So they think that the plant might have just adapted itself to function without its fungal partner. So anyway, there's a number of plants here. There's one here, there's one here. Here's some smaller ones. There's a little one here.